Welcome to the NBA Triple Double Show powered by SportsMemo. I am your host, Ronald Cabang from Wager Talk at UCapper Sports on Twitter. I'll be joined by Moneyline Matt from SportsMemo. We'll be talking about Game 5 of the NBA Finals between the Miami Heat and the Denver Nuggets tonight. Before we get into that game, though, I do want to talk about what we got going on over at SportsMemo and Wager Talk. We got the free live odds page over there on both sites. We got deals pages, and that has promos available for all our cappers who have one. Cappers provide free picks and analysis on a daily basis, along with their daily packages as well. Also, it is Monday, so $9 Mondays over at Wager Talk and Sports Memo there. Make sure you head over to sportsmemo.com to catch Matt. You can find myself over at Wager Talk. Also, before you go after the show here, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube. With that said, let's get Matt up here with me on the panel. Matt, man, Game 5 today, maybe the last game, but you know how it is here. We always start up our show being transparent. Game 4, I went 1-1. I went 1-1 in Game 4, but the bigger play lost, so ended up taking an L there. I had the full game under, which did hit, but I took the Nuggets team total as well, which went over on a unnecessary late 3-pointer. But that's how it goes, right? Like some things just you can't control it. Like even if they didn't really need to make that shot, sometimes it just goes in. How did Game 4 go for you, Matt?
Man, I went 1-2 once again. I think I've gone 0-1, 1-2, 1-2. So not the best stretch for me. Like we talked about, the Miami Heat have kind of been a tougher team for me to bet on. It's just one of those teams that is tougher to read. I haven't really expected them to go on this run, but I will say this, did have a 5-unit play on the Denver Nuggets minus 1.5 games in this series. So would love to see them close this out. Sad that we won't have a show after if they close it out, but would love to hit a 5-unit bet to end the season, But we've been breaking this down all season long, ready to do it one more time. Even though I do think this is it, let's get after it as usual, Ron.
Yeah, I mean, I know, Matt, like I know you said you've been 1-2 the last few couple games, but when we break it down during the show, you're actually whatever you break down on the show actually been hitting. It's just a matter. You were saying it too. You're like, man, I wish I just took it because we talked about it, right? So,
It's 9-4. Like,
yeah, exactly. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not like our breakdowns are bad. It's just sometimes it's really tough because you want to manage your how many plays you take per game, and sometimes it's just sometimes your leans hit and your other plays don't. But as long as you're seeing the board well, it'll turn around. But I mean, obviously it's the end of the season, so not much room left to do that. But yeah, I mean, Game 4, man. What we saw with the Nuggets there, it almost seems like I wouldn't say that the Heat have quit because from what we've seen from them all postseason, there's no quit in them. I don't expect them to lay down here. Nuggets lead the series now 3-1 as we head into that Game 5. Nuggets took both games in Miami. In Game 4, Nuggets beat them 108-95. I think that both times in Miami, the Heat struggled to get over, not even get over 100. Matt, I mean, I think 3 of the 4 games now, Matt, they've stayed under the 100-point mark. In Game 2 was the one that they only they scored 108, but other than that, man, they've struggled to put together things offensively, like all in one package. Like there was a game where they led the turnover battle 13-4, but they couldn't make they couldn't create points off of those turnovers. And then there's another situation where they were getting a lot of shots off. They had like 98 shots attempted or something in Game 1, but they couldn't get to the free throw line. So there's always like a little piece missing. This is Game 5 now, right? They're down 3-1, must-win situation. Do you think that they have what it takes to kind of put things together finally, or does Miami really just have their number here?
In all honesty, I do not expect the Miami to put it together here. I think this is it. We kind of talked about it on last show. We discussed the Nuggets going into Miami, winning that game, coming home, and ending the series. And, what I saw last game only kind of confirmed that thought and made me think of it a little bit further. So in this spot, I really do think the Denver Nuggets get it done. And, this is just a team, even when we started breaking down this series, there are so many mismatches on that court as it pertains to the Denver Nuggets and the Miami Heat. And all of those mismatches lie with the Denver Nuggets. They have a huge advantage here. Obviously, a ton of it lying with Nikola Jokic, just with his height, his ability to bring the ball up the court, his ability to pass out of double teams, traps, zones, whatever it may be. And, this Miami Heat team, I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but throughout the NBA playoffs, the spots where they were getting a lot of these teams were when they would switch to that zone. And when you switch to that zone, you need to be able to pass very well, and you really need to be able to pinpoint pass. And that's exactly what Nikola Jokic is doing, and that's also what Jamal Murray's doing. Jamal Murray has been just throwing perfect passes all over the court. And to the matchup with Aaron Gordon and Jimmy Butler. Aaron Gordon is a really tough defender for someone like Jimmy Butler, and we just haven't seen the consistency from those role players like the Caleb Martins of the world, the Gabe Vincents. I was on him last game, and he played brutal. The Max Struses of the world. They're just not really stepping up like they were leading up to the NBA Finals. So for me, like you said, I don't see any quit in this Miami Heat team. I think they're going to come out. I think they're going to play hard, do the thing. I do think it'll be a little different, though. I think we're going to see some scoring here. I think we're going to see a little pace as well, because coming into the playoffs, the Miami Heat were the slowest team in the regular season, not only in pace, but also in how fast they get up a shot within the 24-second shot clock. And when facing the Nuggets, the thing is, they're better with pace, but they don't care either way. When you have someone like Nikola Jokic and you have that post-up game, they don't care if you're going fast, you're going slow. Obviously, once again, they have the ability to go fast. Jokic is possibly the only center, other maybe Bam and a couple others, who can get that ball, bring it up, and hit those outlet passes. But if you want to run a slow style game as well, they can do that. And I think Miami has been running a little bit slower, focusing on defense. I think they open it up a little bit here just because they have to try something else. This Nuggets team, again, it's 3-1. It's do or die. I think we're going to see something different, but I don't think it's going to be enough. So, again, I think it's going to be faster pace, and I think the Nuggets close out here. Really no problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, though. I think we both kind of see I think we're both leaning towards Miami finishing this one off tonight, but that number is really high, right? I think it's at 9. Also, another thing to add to this now in Game 5, Tyler Herro was upgraded, right? So he's going to be suiting up today, right? But we don't know, what impact he's going to make, right? How many minutes can he play? He's been out of official games since the first round or whatever it might be. But this is a tough thing to do. I mean, obviously they're running out of options, right? So they got to bring him back and see what he can do. But at the same time, he's going to have, tired legs, probably like heavy legs. It might take some time for him to get back into it, even if he actually ends up playing, because he's only been upgraded, right? He's going to suit up. He's going to try to play, but we don't know exactly, what kind of health he's going to be in, or what his stamina is going to be like and all that stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see how that affects the total here. I did not see if it moved up actually from when the news came out. But I know last time I saw it, yesterday when I saw it was at 208.5. This morning was 209.5. I would assume with Tyler Herro news that it would probably go up a little bit more. But you mentioned that the role players on Miami, right? Gabe Vincent and Caleb Martin, all those guys, and Strus, who've been struggling. In Game 4, we saw Gabe Vincent and Max Strus only play 18 minutes. We saw Kyle Lowry and Caleb Martin. Caleb Martin probably had his best game in the NBA Finals in Game 4. Do you expect that rotation to be? You said something about it being different this time around, but do you expect Caleb Martin and Kyle Lowry to pick it up a little bit more here in Game 5?
Lowry has been someone throughout the playoffs that, as a veteran, I've liked his assists. Especially, I think he's been looking to get a lot of his teammates involved. And I think he's someone that Eric Spoelstra just turns to. He trusts him when he's out there. He trusts that he's going to give good minutes. He trusts that he's going to make the right decision. But I also think that Eric Spoelstra at this point in time is just purely going with the hot hand. I think he goes into this game. I think he has a lineup in mind. And if Gabe Vincent and Max Strus come out and they start balling, then they're going to get that, 25 to 30 minute plus role. If they're not playing too well, then once again, they're going to get probably 25 minutes or less. And then they're going to go with, because someone like Caleb Martin can also at least give you some defense on top of that. He's going to come out and rebound a little bit. So he is definitely someone who can be more effective without scoring in comparison to someone like maybe Gabe Vincent or Max Strus, Duncan Robinson, guys like that. And then Kyle Lowry, like I kind of mentioned earlier, I think he gives you that veteran presence. If he's doing the same thing as Gabe Vincent, then I think you do go with Kyle Lowry, just because Lowry does have that veteran presence. He has that big shot ability. He's willing to take that shot late in the shot clock. Not like he always makes it, but I do think it's something that is something, or I guess a coach can depend on it down the stretch maybe. But with that being said, with Tyler Herro potentially coming back into the lineup, I understand what Spoelstra is doing. You kind of want as many offensive weapons as possible. How effective this is going to be at this point in time, I really don't know. I can't see him really getting higher than 20 minutes unless he's absolutely making everything, which I find to be somewhat doubtful, because coming into the series, me and you did discuss this, what would happen if Tyler Herro came back and things of that nature. And, they were playing so well at that point in time. I didn't know how many minutes he would get. You didn't really want to disrupt it. But when you're down 3-1, that's completely different. You're just trying to get something in there. You're trying to throw things at the wall and see what sticks. So in addition to that, like we were talking about with the total, it did go up a point. I believe it's at 209.5 since Tyler has been declared in. And, I like the over here. I do think this is going to be a good look. I think teams are going to be very aggressive, getting to the basket, stuff like that, maybe a little less defense, faster pace. So Tyler only does add to that, his three-point ability from the outside, his mid-range ability, things like that. So I do think it's a little bit added of a boost, but I already liked the over, so I only like it more now.
Yeah, so we've talked about what could possibly happen, but let's talk about it from a betting perspective now, right? What's a couple of things that I looked at from a trend perspective, right? Because that's what I bring to the show is more the trends and analytics, right? Home favorites in Game 5, 10-5 straight up, 8-7 against the spread, also 10-5 to the over. Home favorites in Game 5 in the NBA Finals specifically. If you add to the fact that the home favorite is up 3-1 in the series, it goes to 4-2 straight up and against the spread, 5-1 to the over. So kind of leaning towards the over in that direction, right? For as far as historic trends. The other thing to mention too, Nuggets. We talked about this before the series started too, Matt. The Nuggets kind of own the Heat, ever since 2018 throughout the regular season. And now including the playoff series here, the Nuggets are 12-2 straight up and against the spread against the Miami Heat. From an over and under perspective, 7-7. But during that span, the Nuggets at home, 6-2 straight up and against the spread, also 5-3 to the over. I mean, a lot of things to me from a matchup perspective, from a historic playoff perspective, it seems like the Nuggets get the win tonight. But this 9 points is one of the larger lines within that, within the that time frame. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens from a spread perspective. Like you said, man, I think the Nuggets get the win tonight. The spread is kind of iffy for me. I gotta stay away from the spread. I do have my premium play is on the total here, and a lot of things, obviously from a trend perspective is pointing towards a specific direction, but you also got to look at the situation, right? It's a must-win situation here for the Miami Heat. Does their defense show up, right? Denver has put up 104 or more, I think, in every single game here. Miami has struggled to score over 100 in 3 of the 4 games. It's a matter of, do you trust them to pick it up, right? The three-point variance is what has been sort of the key in all these games here, right? The only time they shot 50%, close to 50% from 3 was the game that the Miami Heat won. If you expect them to, I feel like the side and the total, Matt, are correlated, wouldn't you think? If Denver wins this game, is possibly an under, right? If Denver wins and covers, possibly an under game. But if you feel like Miami can keep it close or possibly even win this game outright to force a Game 6, you would probably want to look towards the over. Is that right?
Yeah, I would think so. And honestly, for me, I do think Miami can keep it close enough. 9 is a lot of points, and this is a do or die situation. Game 5 on the road in Denver. And I'm very understanding to how difficult Denver is as a place to play. They average 119 points per game at home in the regular season. They had the best home record throughout the entire NBA. But this is also a Miami team that did sneak up on the Nuggets in game 2, if you can recall. So I really don't expect them to sneak up, and I don't really expect them to win this game, if I'm being honest. But 9 points is multiple possessions. And you have someone like Jimmy Butler, who has proven that he can go out, he can take over a game on his own. He's done it throughout the playoffs. And if I'm being honest, guys like Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Caleb Martin, even Duncan Robinson, none of them have been playing all that well this series. They have not been knocking down their outside shots. They have not been making a ton of plays. And, as you guys know, I'm one of those guys who, if you're missing game after game, you're kind of trending up for me, because you're not going to miss all those shots every single game. At some point, it is going to come together. And I do think this could be one of those games. Again, do or die situation, haven't been playing very well throughout the entire series. So I do expect the Miami Heat to knock down maybe more shots than usual. Are they going to go crazy? No, but I think they could maybe get in the vicinity of 105 points. If they can get in that vicinity, I think it could be close enough where they cover that 9-point spread. And then I also think it's going to enable the over, which is definitely what I'm looking at here. I'm kind of with you, Ron. This Heat team, when their spread is there, I've kind of just stayed away from it. Even though I bet you if you took the Heat, with the points throughout the entire playoffs, you'd be up a good amount of money right now. But for me, this is really a spot that I'm going to be looking at the total. And I really do like this over. And if I were going anywhere, I think it would be with that Heat with the +9. That's just a lot of points for me. Multiple possessions in a do or die situation, season on the line.
Yeah, the other thing to add too, I know the 3-point shooting we just talked about, right? How they've been struggling. Miami has been struggling from 3, but if you look at game 4, they did attack the basket a little bit more. They scored 46 points in the paint compared to, I think it was like 30 or something like that the game before. And to me, I think they did see a little bit of success when doing that. Obviously, in the third quarter, that was kind of the difference maker, how the Nuggets came out in the third quarter. But if Miami attacks the paint again, if they get to the free throw line, that could open up the 3-point shot a little bit more, right? Get better looks from 3, because a lot of the threes that they've been shooting have been contested by Denver, and it's likely because they haven't really been attacking the paint and creating that space for the outside shooters. So if we see Miami do that early, it could be an opportunity to maybe take a live bet to the over if it ends up coming that way. If you get a better number live than the 208.5 or 209.5 that we see now. But for the most part, man, this is gonna be low key. I just feel like Denver gets it. It's just a matter of, do you think that they cover? Does Miami cover the spread here? But let's get to the best bet section. Oh, do you have something to say?
Yeah, real quick. Wanted to just jump in with the Jimmy Butler, because in terms of your free throw comment, with Jimmy Butler, when he's hit 8 free throws, the Miami Heat have won the game outright 66% of the time. So if you do see Jimmy Butler trending to that 8 free throw mark, maybe you want to, like you said, take a live bet on the spread, or even take the Heat outright, because, in these games, when Jimmy has been attacking and when he's been getting to that line is when the Miami Heat are most successful. So I do expect him to be aggressive here. To your point, you got to penetrate, and then you got to dish out for some of those guys to get those good looks. So I do think that's going to be a heavy strategy going into tonight.
I like it. I like that. I like that a lot here. Let's move on to the best bet section, Matt. Let's go. Mine is actually pretty quick, so I'll probably go first. My best bet for today's show, and we've taken this, a couple times in different ways, but I'm going back to Jamal Murray. The last couple of times we talk about Jamal Murray rebounds plus assists, but because he's been hitting at a high rate, the number has obviously moved up a lot. Last night I gave this out to clients, 8.5, over 8.5 assists, and it was plus money. So that was pretty good there to be able to get a plus money play on a prop that has been hitting pretty much every game so far in this NBA Finals. He's averaging 10.5 assists per game on 18 potential assists. The Heat really haven't figured out how to stop him yet, right? And one thing that they talked about was, how to after Game 4, Jimmy Butler talked about how they need to stop Jamal Murray and how they need to stop Jokic, right? If they stop Jamal Murray from scoring, he's going to have to facilitate, and he's been doing such a great job of it already. He doesn't even need to have, it's slightly above 50% of his potential assists, but he's been picking and choosing the right spots. He's picking the right people to pass to, the open shooters. And the other thing to mention too, and Matt talked about this, is his accuracy. He's not turning the ball over at a super high rate, and he's getting to the players that he needs to get to. So, when you're a shooter, you catch the ball in stride with accurate passes, you're more likely to make your shot, and that's something that we've seen, all series long, here in the NBA Finals. So, over 8.5 assists is my top play for the show today. And over at SportsMemo, I do have at Wager Talk, I do have one NBA premium play, and also, like I said, this Jamal Murray over assist is my smaller premium play, but it is a premium play. So, Matt, let's go to you here. What's your best bet for today's show? Also, what do you got going on over at SportsMemo?
Yeah, guys, right now I got 2 plays loaded over at SportsMemo. I do think the season is coming to an end tonight, so I might see a couple more just to try and go out with a bang. But as you know, I've talked about this all series long, and once again, we are going with Nikola Jokic to have a triple-double at plus 115. Anytime you can get some Nikola Jokic plus money odds on a triple-double, I'm going to roll with that. And, you guys have heard me talk about it throughout the NBA playoffs, saying that he could have a triple-double damn near every game. And he's hitting it at over a 50% rate. He's hit a triple-double in 10 out of 19 games this postseason. He's 50% right now against the Miami Heat. And now they head home to Denver, where they're averaging around 119 points per game, closeout fashion. I also like this because not only is it a huge spot? Not only is it the game obviously going to go through Nikola Jokic, but I like Jamal Murray a lot with it. And when I like Jamal Murray, I like Nikola Jokic to be that facilitator. You guys know how easy it is when Jamal Murray is making those mid-range shots, coming off the pick and roll, making his three-point shots, coming off that pick and roll, because literally it's just a handoff pass. It's that easy. When Jamal Murray is knocking down all of his shots, Jokic and his assists go up a lot more. And call me crazy, guys, but I kind of like Michael Porter Jr. to somehow maybe get 12 points tonight. Nothing crazy, but maybe knock down a couple outside shots. And I only say this because this man, Michael Porter Jr., the Denver Nuggets are going to win the championship tonight. And this man is going to be happy, but he's also going to be sick to his goddamn stomach. He is going to have that whole summer to think about how he played throughout the finals. And he played brutal. So I really think tonight he's got to see a couple shots go down. And I think Nikola Jokic is going to be that guy facilitating. And with Jokic, as we know, the most difficult thing is always those assists. And I don't think they're going to have a problem with that tonight. I think they're going to have a ton of energy. Like we talked about earlier, Ron and I said how we think it might be a pace-up style game a little bit more and score some points. When points are getting scored, Nikola Jokic is generally the guy who has a lot to do with it. And I don't think he's going to have one of those huge, 35-plus point games, anything like that. I think he's really going to want to get everyone involved in this spot as a team to close out against the Miami Heat. So once again, we are rolling with Nikola Jokic to have a triple-double at plus 115 odds tonight.
I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, Murray and Jokic have hit the double-digit assist mark in 2 of the 4 games together. So Murray hit 10 assists in each one of those games, and then I think it was game 1 and game 3 where Jokic hit 10 plus. So he's like one of those. He's in one of those. Zigzag on assists. He had it's 14 game 1, 4 game 2, 10 game 3, 4 game 4, and then game 5 he's probably gonna hit double digits again. Probably. Yeah, exactly. That little zigzag thing. Yeah. Real quick before we cut out here, props. We were just told by one of our producers that Tyler Hero props has popped up 8.5 over under on points. Juice to the under minus 120. Want to get your take real quick before we cut out here. Over under 8.5 for Tyler Hero.
Honestly, I would actually say over. I think Tyler Hero, he's going to be put in this game to shoot. In his absence, a lot of these guys have been missing shots. Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Duncan Robinson, Caleb Martin. His job is going to be to go in there and create offense. And I think that's exactly what he's going to do. It's not that easy to come off the bench or off an extended injury and just start making some shots. But I could see him taking, 10, 12 shots in this spot. And if you're
Probably. Yeah.
if you're getting some volume like that, then I'd be okay with running that play. It's probably not going to be on my card tonight, but I could definitely understand if you wanted to, because again, if he gets 22 minutes, I would see 10 to 12 shots. And if you're getting that type of volume, then that's really not a bad play. He can also go to the rim, get fouled a couple times. Yeah, I would be on the over, if anything.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. The other thing to mention though is maybe wait until we get better news of how many minutes they expect him to play, or in what role, what capacity he ends up playing. But yeah, I would agree with you, because he's obviously, they brought him in here to put points up because they've been struggling offensively. So that if that's his primary role, 8.5 does seem doable. Even if he puts up, even if he doesn't shoot a high percentage, his volume might end up being there. All right. With that said, Matt, we broke down Game 5. This possibly could be the last game of the show here. Last show of the season here. But I feel like we did a great job breaking this Game 5 down. I feel like we did a great job breaking down this whole series, the whole playoff. We've been doing really well. I mean, like I think it's correlated, right? Because I always say, whenever I give a play out in the best bet section, it is a premium play of mine, and I've hit 9 of my last 12 here in the NBA Finals, and hopefully we could just continue closing out this NBA playoffs strong here. But with that said, man,
Guys,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, honestly, real quick, guys, because personally, I think this series ends tonight, and the show's probably going to end tonight. So really, real quick, I just wanted to say a quick thank you to everyone who's tuned in all season long. Got to shout out Johnny Detroit for even giving me a shot and allowing me to do this. Got to shout out my boy Chris Allen for honestly pushing me to do this and putting me in this spot, and honestly trusting that Ron and I would work well together, because when we first started this show, Ron and I had never spoken a word. So the first show that we came on, didn't even spoken a word together. So we came on the first show. We're like, all right, let's see how this works. And, Ron and I have worked very well. I don't know how many shows we've done together, but, it's been a lot of fun. I think we've broken down things pretty successful. I know I didn't close out the season exactly like I wanted, but, man, we've had some good times on this show. I remember there was a time where my best bet won 14 in a row. Very excited to see what comes next season. Ron, I appreciate you having me as a co-host, man. It's been awesome breaking down games with you and getting to know you better. And again, our audience, I greatly appreciate everyone. And also, shout out Eric, our producer. It's nice talking to him every day. We're always breaking down games, plays before the show. So thank you guys. Greatly appreciate all of you. And can't wait till next season, y'all.
Well said, Matt. Well said. Yeah, definitely. It was an experiment in the beginning, but it worked out pretty well. I mean, the chemistry is there. We look at games really differently, so to be able to balance all that out was dope for the whole season. I feel like we did a really great job. Hopefully, we come back next season and do it even better. Yeah, man. With that said, guys, obviously head over to SportsMemo and Wager Talk. Today's $9 Monday. All picks and packages are just $9 from all the handicappers on both sites there. SportsMemo for Matt, Wager Talk for myself. If for some reason there's a game 6, you'll see us on either, I think it's Wednesday, on the same channel here. But till then, guys, good luck with your all your action. Peace.
Peace.